Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how I germinate desert rose seeds. The first thing you're going to need is desert rose seeds that are fresh. If you have seeds that are left over from a year ago, don't use those. Very few, if any, will germinate. You want to get seeds that are fresh, preferably within a month or two before you are going to germinate them. So wherever you get your seeds from, make sure that they're from a company or individual that has just recently harvested the seeds. Now, I'm going to germinate the seeds in this plastic tote. I'm going to line the bottom of this tote with just normal paper towels. Like this. Like so. Okay. Now that the bottom of this tote is lined with the paper towel, I'm going to take fungicide powder and I'm going to mix it up with water, what I have here. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to just dampen the paper towels with this fungicide powder. And what that does is, we all know that desert roses are notorious for getting root rot and having rot on the stems and all that. Well, the seeds are no different. They also rot. So instead of just germinating them with water, if you mix some fungicide powder, that will prevent a lot of issues with the seeds. So I'm just wetting the paper towels pretty much evenly. Now you don't want the paper towels to be soaking wet necessarily. You just want to damp with this fungicide powder. All right. The next step, you just take the seeds and you space them along on your paper towel. I typically space mine about 1 inch apart. It's not really super important how close or how far apart you space them, because they're not going to grow long term in this setup. This is just to germinate them. Okay, so now I have all my seeds in rows roughly 1 inch apart. Like I said, it's not crucial how close or how far apart they are at this stage, because they're not going to continue to grow in here. This is just to get them to germinate. So they're all lined out in rows. The next thing I'm going to do is take another layer of paper towels, and I'm going to use this layer to cover the tops of the seeds. Like so. And now I'm going to just put a little bit more of the fungicide powder water over top of this newest layer of paper towels. And like I said, we're not trying to completely soak the seeds. We're just trying to keep them moist so that they will germinate. Now just pat them down so that they're in good contact with the paper towels, because the paper towels is what's going to keep them wet. Alright, so you can see that they're all covered now. Now the next thing I'm going to do is just take a cup of water and I'm going to just set that in one corner of the tub. And what that would do is keep it humid and moist inside here. Then the next thing is I'm just going to put the top on this tote. That way it keeps the moisture inside of here, kind of making like a mini greenhouse while they germinate. Now I'm going to keep this tote inside my house in a warm and indirect sunlight, so in a window that doesn't get full-blown sunlight during the day, but indirect sunlight. And I will check the seeds about once a day, starting in about 3 days, and I'll give you an update when they start to germinate. Okay, so it has been 7 days since the first part of this video, and today is the day to see what we have for results. Take the glass of water out and carefully pull back the damp paper towels. And we have good results. Some of them are stuck to the paper towel. You can see some of them on the paper towel. Do it kind of like that for now. I'm gonna give you guys a close-up. Let me grab that camera. All right, so after 7 days, this is the results that we have. Planted 150 desert rose seeds, and as you can see, we probably have 98% germination, because even some of the ones that don't look like they have germinated, you could see that they're just now starting to come out. There's a few that, like this one, that didn't germinate, but even this one here, right there, you can see where the seed is just starting to split, and the little desert rose is starting to come out, and this one too, the same way. So we probably have about 98% of the seeds have germinated. And as I said, there's some that are stuck on the paper towel over there that have germinated too. So let me get set up to show you what the next step is. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to take a pair of tweezers and I'm just going to pick up the small seedlings. Sometimes they have the shell of the seed left on the leaves. I'll take that off. Obviously you want to put the root side down. And the soil mix I'm using today is roughly 50% composted cow manure, 30% normal sand, and then the remainder is turfus and composted mulch. And for small seedlings, this will hold more water, which is what the seedlings are going to need, especially in the winter time, to make it through the dormant period. And then I'm just going to backfill with a little bit of soil around the small seedling. And there he is. I'll do that a few more times. Take the little seedling, put it in the middle of your pot, or in this case, I just use cups as a temporary pot. And the desert roses can stay in these cups or small pots for a year or 2 years. You know, as the plants develop, you know whether you need to transplant them into a bigger pot as time goes on. There's the next one. The soil that I'm using to put around them actually has a little bit of perlite in it as well. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to let you guys see what they're going to look like in a year and 2 years from now. So here's another small little desert rose. You're not trying to bury them super deep. You just want to make sure that they're stabilized so that when they get water, they don't fall over. So they look like this currently. And in 1 year, they are going to look like this. I planted these desert roses 1 year ago using the same method. You can see using the same pot or cups. And a year later, they're about 16 inches. Some of them are a little bit shorter, some are a little bit taller. Some have a couple extra branches coming off. And then 2 years from now, so when they're 2 years old, they will look like this. You can see some of them continue to grow straight up. Some of them that have the secondary branches give you branches like this, and then some of them put off a really good canopy of branches. Now, none of these three that are 2 years old, none of these have I pruned yet. So all this secondary branching and everything that some of them have going on is just natural for that particular desert rose. All these desert roses are the same. They're all obesum. The 2-year-old ones, the 1-year-old ones, and then my newest ones that are just less than 2 weeks old. They're all the same, just different genetics. You know, some people have brown hair, some people have red hair, blonde hair. Some desert roses have just one large trunk, some have multiple, just depends. So the next thing I'm going to do with these desert roses that just potted up today is I'm going to give them a drink of water, and then I will place them in partial shade, not full sun yet, at least for the next 2 weeks. I'll let them slowly start getting used to being outside and into the sun slowly over the next 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks, then I can put them into full sun and they will take off like these ones here. So there you go. You saw from fresh seeds to less than 2 week old plants to 1 year old plants and also 2 year old plants, which you can expect. So I hope you got something out of this video. If you would, please hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I love hearing from you guys, and I will see you in the next video.